Hello friends, today I'm going to show you a game between Robert James Fischer, which is known as Bobby Fischer, versus Samuel Reshevsky. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing his name correctly, so apologies in advance. This game was it was played in 1958 in US Championship, where Bobby was playing with the white. And this game is also known as an opening trap to remember, where Bobby Fischer starts with e4 and c5. So it's a Sicilian defense. Knight f3, uh, knight c6, d4, where c takes d4, where knight takes d4, and g6. So friends, this g6 shows a hyper accelerated variation of the Sicilian defense. Here at this position, if black chooses to play a6, that's called a knight of variation. But here g6 is a hyper accelerated variation, where black tries to develop his dark square bishop on g7 and wanted to take control of this dark square diagonal. Here at this position, bishop e3 was played, and knight to f6, so basically attacking onto e4 pawn. So knight to c3 and bishop to g7 and bishop c4. This bishop c4 is you will see this bishop c4 move in lots of Bobby Fischer games. He usually uses this light square diagonal very effectively against the Sicilian. And if you want to learn how to play against the Sicilian, this bishop c4 is one of the best move. And why I've chosen this the title the an opening trap to remember, I'll show you in a minute. So here at this position, black castles and bishop to b3. So bishop b3, because to avoid knight trapping this bishop. But here at this position, knight to a5 has been played, but e5. So Bobby Fischer attacked onto this knight, so this knight goes to e8. And here on this position, Bobby Fischer sacrifices his light square bishop, where bishop takes f7 check. And of course there are two options: either you can move the king, or you can capture it. But in either case, here Bobby Fischer, the opponent, captures this with e takes king takes f7. And here there comes a surprise move, knight to e6. What a brilliant move that forks uh, both the queen and the rook. And in case, if you capture this knight from the king, then your king will be dancing onto the board from now here onwards. Say for example, king takes e6, but then queen to d5. The only option you can go to king to f5, because all of those places were blocked for the king. In fact, but then g4 check, uh, and you have no option then to capture this. So king takes g4, and checkmate will be very soon from this position. So here on this position, uh, uh, d takes e6, and you have to given away your queen. So here queen takes d8, and at this position it's a real setback for Samuel. But he tried to fight from this position. Knight goes to c6, and then queen to d2. The game from here onwards is very straightforward, but let me go through the entire thing here. uh, Bishop takes e5, Bobby Fischer castles, and knight to d6. So this knight is coming on to c4, and it will going to fork one of those bishop or the queen. So bishop b4 first. uh, Here knight comes to c4, and then queen to e2. So you can take the bishop, and I will take the 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 knight. Sorry. Here bishop takes f4, and Bobby Fischer takes the knight. So queen takes c4. Here on this position, king goes to g7, because because this f file needs to be opened for the rook to join the attack. But here on this position, knight to e4 and bishop to c7. A very interesting combination coming up next, but but hang on a minute. If you're enjoying this video, press the like button and do send me your comments. um, and if you have not subscribed it yet, please do so, so you will not miss further games from the grandmasters on this channel. But here, knight goes to c5 and rook to f6. So because this pawn needs to be defended, c3 from this position, and e5. So e5, because now you can you can make a space for the light square bishop. Also, the rook can now be freed. But rook a to d1 and knight to d8. Knight to d7, attacking onto the rook. So rook moves to c6, attacking on the queen. So queen goes to h4. So there's an attack onto the e7 pawn. So rook to e6, and now knight to c5. Now and knight to c5 has caused this pawn to fall, because there's an attack onto the rook, which is the only defender here. So rook to f6, and knight to e4. So there again attack onto the rook. So rook goes to f4. So basically forking knight and the queen, but that mistake cost Samuel the pawn at f7. So queen e7, queen takes e7, and it's a check. Rook comes back to defend. Rook to f7, and then queen to a3, knight to c6, and knight to d6. Sorry, d6. Sorry, yeah, d6 here. So again attacking onto the rook. Now Samuel decides, okay, enough for the knight dance. So he's captured the knight by bishop takes d6, and rook takes d6, and bishop to f5, uh, and b4. Uh, Rook f to f8. So Samuel connects both of his rook. But from this position, b5, attacking onto the knight. So knight moves to d8, and rook to d5. And now there's an attack onto the pawn. So knight goes to f7, defending this pawn, and rook to c5. Now a6, and b6. Bishop to e4, because the rook is going on to c7. So this pawn needs to be defended. But here rook to e1, and then bishop to c6. But here Bobby Fischer decided, okay, enough is enough. So he's captured the bishop by rook takes c6, where b takes c6, and then b7, attacking onto the rook. So rook a to b8, and queen takes a6. Knight to d8, um, attacking onto this. But here rook to b1, and then rook to f7. So this pawn is going to be fall for sure. But Bobby Fischer has some other ideas in his mind. So first he played h3, where rook f takes b7, where Bobby Fischer takes rook takes b7, and it's a check, and rook takes b7. But as soon as the rook takes b7, Bobby plays queen to a8, and that's game over. And there are lots of things at stake, and not everything can be not all the threats can be dealt. First of all, Bobby Fischer, the clear pass pawn on the a file. uh, at the moment, uh, Samuel has to defend either rook, bishop, or the pawn, rook, knight, and the pawn. And there's a check as well as coming. This The pawn, e5 pawn is also very isolated, and it is also very difficult to hold on. So there are too much for the black to hold from here this position. So Samuel resigns at this position. Let me know, fans, how you like this video. Let me know in your comments, and especially how you find that trap, the opening trap. You may play this trap in your own games as well. Till then, take care. Bye bye.